and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning whiz is always best. Time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you're doing well today. Man, oh man, do I have something interesting for all you fine people? I want you to hear something. I worked on this a little bit last night. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you love it. There we go.
Baby, morning's here again. So let's do this, sugar, no cream. Wake up slow, take a sip. Shizzy's got 'em losing their grip. News so dumb, what can you do? Laugh it off, let daddy guide you. You know Papa don't flinch, don't blink. Ooh baby, he's sharper than you think. Morning whiz, take it in. Shizzy's got the world on spin. Fools keep falling, truth's on fire. Papa Nut just raised the choir. Oh no, they tried to fight. Now they're howling through the night. They poke, they scratch, they beg, they plead. But Shizzy's dancing while they bleed. Pour it black, keep it light. Shizzy's teasing you right. Morning whiz, taste the show. Sip it slow, let it glow. Trolls are crying, the game is set. Ooh, baby, they ain't seen nothing yet. Now that's a morning sugar. The coffee's hot, the takes are hotter. And Shizzy Daddy, oh, he's just getting started.
Cool. It started again. Doggone it. Give me a second. I forgot it was on loop. Oh yeah, I like that one too. I thought it was pretty nice and smooth. Hello from UK. Welcome Leslie, welcome, Leslie. A little mix of blues and jazz. Yeah, I'm working on a new like while you wait song, sort of like a nice little trailer, something easy for the mornings. Yeah, good one for the Monday morning. Absolutely, I agree. I thought it was pretty good. I think it was pretty good. Especially because it's going to get crazy today. We've got too much craziness about to happen. Ah, yes. Here we go. A major MAGA influencer accuses AG's Pam Bondi of First Amendment violation on X. PR-wise, Attorney General Pam Bondi has not had a stellar past week with the disastrous rollout of the Nothing Burger Epstein files after hyping them in the media. She went so far as to print special binders for various select social media influencers labeled the Epstein Files Phase 1 that contained virtually no information not already in the public domain for years. No one on the independent MAGA right has been more vocal, perhaps, in her criticism than one Laura Loomer. She's uploaded nonstop attacks on her X page and Rumble channels regarding Bondi's handling of the Epstein Files debacle. Let's just see what she has to say.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
And of course, you've seen the very strong letter. We will get everything. We will have it in our possession. We will redact it, of course, to protect grand jury information and confidential witnesses, but the American people have a right to know. And Donald Trump is the most transparent president in our nation's history. So not only will America get the full Epstein files, they will get JFK, they will get Martin Luther King.
Okay. It comes as a little surprise that apparently Bondi found her badgering annoying, but according to Loomer, Bondi took it a step further and blocked her official government X account, as indicated by the account's gray checkmark. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the Trump-appointed Attorney General of the United States just blocked me on X because I'm holding her accountable for lying about releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files, Loomer wrote. As President Trump's AG, she must know the First Amendment inside and out. Understanding recent history is how it can be weaponized against President Trump and his supporters with shameless impunity. Loomer wrote in a separate post, capitalizing random words and typical Trump aesthetic. In blocking me on X, Bondi has demonstrated total incompetence and ignorance in the basics of First Amendment law. Loomer goes on to cite recent case law concerning her claims, including Link v. Freed. Putting aside whether one thinks about the personalities involved, Loomer certainly has a penchant for drumming up melodrama. A cursory reading of the case law and common sense would dictate that government officials who use their accounts in official capacities shouldn't be blocking their critics on social media, at any rate, illegal or not. Blocking political opponents isn't the promised radical transparency. Amazing. Good morning. I don't think Bondi understood how deep the corruption was. Maybe she's not the one for the job. That does happen. Who said I could spell? Well, I don't know about that. I can't spell either. Good morning. We all understand Chatis. Oh, yes. Welcome. Howdy, 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 hi. But that's not the one that hits the hardest. And this next one is a little interesting. I've only watched a portion of it. I don't have time today to watch the entire thing, but apparently Zelensky fired it off today. Well, not today, but over the weekend. And this is a little crazy, but you have to understand where it came from. Oh boy, here we go.
But the really exciting moment is when they stop the shooting and we end up with a deal. And I think we're fairly close to getting that, and an honor to have you. And please, I'd like to say something.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for the invitation. And really, I hope that this first document will be the first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course the infrastructure or security guarantees. Because for today, I understand what Europe is ready to do. And of course, I want to discuss with you what the United States will be ready to do. And I really count on your strong position to stop Putin. And you said that enough with the war. I think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning of war, because he is a killer and terrorist. But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very important to, to save our country, our values.
Yeah, jumping out and doing that to Putin doesn't sound like he's ready to negotiate. And he makes it very, very clear later on in this, as we get towards the end of it, after there's lots of speaking and talking and conversations back and forth. It appears that somebody whispers something over here to Zelensky's ear, and it's about to get nasty.
For Americans on his behalf. How can he be a reliable, trustworthy partner when he says things that are demonstrably false on such an important topic?
Well, we actually spoke to him about that yesterday, and we thought they took it very, very much too far. JD was very strong on it. So was I. So was Marco. And we've been speaking to him about it. Marco, would you like to say something about that?
Yeah, we have concerns, obviously, with the conduct of those, particularly as it impacts Americans. And there's real concern that American speech, which is online, could fall into the hands of British or any country's jurisdiction. And so this is a point the Vice President made at Munich, and I think it's a very compelling one, that what unites us with Europe, as much as anything else, is these shared values, and one of them being free speech. And so if Americans are threatened by it, we're going to need to take action in that regard.
Now, if you don't understand what that was all about, go back and watch the Vice President Vance's speech in Munich to those council members, and see how it ends up that he's concerned with the way that Europe and UK and other countries are trying to censor Americans from speaking their minds or having any sort of disagreement with what happens in the world, where they want to have America come in and start shutting people down and silencing them. This gets very, very touchy, but this is not the most important part of all of this, because it's going to get into J.D. Vance asking questions of Zelensky. Now, this can be taken any which way, and it's a hard one to watch. So, show us where the money is going exactly. See where the money is going, and it's like a lot of balls in the air and a lot of people involved in this. So it gets a little heated. Here it comes.
It's actually a very important question.
We spoke about this in detail with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, and others at lunch yesterday. And I know that Secretary of Commerce Lutnick followed up in private meetings last night. This is really important. We believe Americans have the right to speak their mind, even if we in this room disagree with them. They have the right to speak their mind in the public square, which is often online these days. And we're going to defend that right as it pertains to American companies and American citizens vigorously if we have to. I do think that under the President's leadership, we're going to find common ground with our friends in the UK on this question, but it remains to be seen. The principle that will guide us is we believe in free speech in this country, and we'll fight for it for American citizens.
Now, it is also something to note here on this, is that what Funston said was Ruskies have always been an enemy since I was a kid. Yes, but this also goes back to Russia not wanting to have a NATO country bordering on Russia, because their concern is they're going to make moves to come into Russia. So as bad and as horrible as everyone knows, believes, thinks, fill in your adjective there, Putin, he makes a valid point. It would be no different than having somebody that does not have our best interests bordering on the United States. For example, having Russia border on the United States and then us saying, or them bordering, say, for Alaska and saying, them joining in invading Canada. We would back ourselves up and push back against Russia coming in through Canada or Mexico into the United States. That's what part of the Cuban Missile Crisis was keeping Russia from having nuclear missiles that close to the United States. So there's the same pushback. You just have to look at it from the Russians' point of view, not wanting to have a NATO country right there bordering on Russia, especially as you see how that stuff gets crazy. Ukraine is, yes, absolutely, that is very true. They're conscripting youngs, which is, and you have to remember that right now Zelensky, although as he is the president of the Ukraine, he's also a dictator right now. They're not holding any sort of free elections in Ukraine at all. But it gets worse.
Mr. President, on the deal, is there any other oil and gas component to the deal? Is it all critical?
A little bit. We'll see.
On LNG?
But we're not really looking for that so much. We got a lot. We have more than anybody in the world, by far. So no, we're not talking about it too much, but a little bit. I think it affects also, but for the most part, no.
And sir, is there any agreement from Ukraine to purchase U.S. LNG as part of the deal, or is that on the table at all?
No, we don't need that.
Some of those minerals are in the ask you about. You just mentioned that you'd spoken to Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. Just to be clear, that's a new call, not the one that you.
I've spoken to him
That's
on
true.
numerous occasions.
Okay. And how was the latest call? What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you
Good
serious
morning,
with that
Ilka.
question?
I am. I'd love to know.
It went well. I think we're going to have a deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest?
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area. It's a very big area we're talking about, so we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian
They'll
forces?
be protected. The
European
agreement
forces?
will protect them.
U.S.
The
forces?
agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement. You know?
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in response?
I just told you, I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder
You
why.
know, they ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions.
Oh, wow.
Focus on surviving.
Slam.
because CNN's got such low ratings. I don't think they're going to survive. Let's go. Please, go.
I already mentioned Poland. That Poland was under Russian control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as a most powerful country, richest country in the world.
I agree,
a country that
Lindy.
has great music, great movies, great muscle cars.
But he is not
but
wrong.
Also as a force for good. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of thing. He's got tremendous hatred.
Ooh.
And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with,
Uh-huh.
you know,
He
him
did.
either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, For 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden, of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea.
And this is where it's going to get really, really touchy. Some of those reporters are bold. Yeah, absolutely, Nancy. Absolutely.
Yeah. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, what the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him. Me, like a new president in 2019, I signed with him.
Yeah, he's following certain parts of this, but not following it fully, because Russia was actually pulling out and Ukraine turned around and pulled some shady crap, which they tend to do. They get it right to the point, and then Ukraine pulls some shady shit, and Russia turned around and went right back in to Kyiv. So he's half true. And that this is why it becomes dangerous, because he's playing a game that I don't think he's prepared for. Yeah, broke the peace deal exactly with Russia many times, and he wants war. Yes, because war makes a lot of money, because that money starts coming in, and at the end, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He says that he does, but his actions speak louder than words. He's a little a-hole. Yes, I agree. And he's trying to get people. He's like a little troll under the bridge. Just won't stop.
The deal I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me.
And you broke that. You broke that deal.
We signed with him with gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the people of Donbass voted to go back to Russia, and they started killing those people. Absolutely, Malcolm. And that's where, because whenever you're right bordering on on Russia, like, yeah, East and West Germany, they both spoke German, but they were separated by their families. There's a lot of people that live in that region that just don't want to have anything to do with Ukraine because they're not getting equal treatment. Yes, that is very much a threat. That is very much a threat. Him saying that was very much a threat. That's not a good way to have a negotiation. And it is a little bit dangerous, the line that he's taking here, the way that he's coming in and attacking. It's crazy.
Bless, you don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know that.
bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're
not
in no
just
position
did.
to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influenced.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you.
strong.
And this right here tells me that they can't even speak Russia there. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, this all of what Zelensky just said, I think he did not realize that with Biden would have backed down in a heartbeat. Trump was like, oh, no. That's not how this works. This is the problem is going. Now after this, he runs off to European leaders and starts crying that we need to find somebody else because the United States isn't going to support. He's playing a game of turning people against each other, and Trump isn't going to have any of it. Watch the body language of the guy the other day, and his body language is so telling. Yeah. And I'm not a body language expert, but it is pretty telling how he is not there. He is there to get more money out of the United States. That's been his goal the whole time. More money out of Europe, more money out of the United States. And because he's saying there's not going to be any negotiation with Russia, no negotiation whatsoever. And if you've got the United States, they're saying we want to get this stuff negotiated, and he's saying, oh hell no, that means that Zelensky isn't ready to negotiate. Putin has already said he's ready to negotiate.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position.
And when he's saying you'll feel influence, he's talking about from United Nations. Yeah, Trump can pull out if anyone can. Yeah.
You've allowed
From
yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think
You're
you-
gambling with World War III.
what do you
You're
think about?
gambling with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And
Me?
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with all
back to
respect to
you.
your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said.
It was done in absolute respect by making threats against the United States. And then continuing to go on and cry like a little whiny bitch to the rest of the United Nations, NATO, pleading his case there. And yeah, he's right. He is in no position to be trying this crap. Because it's not about ending it, it's about continuing this on. I've said this since the very beginning of this.
They should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation.
Yes, he did. That is very much so. The UN thing is almost impossible for Trump to get out of. Yeah. Almost impossible, but not entirely.
For the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks.
You have not been alone. You have had almost You have not been alone. You have been creating yourself and separating yourself from the rest of the world by acting a fool. What a line, POS. Absolutely, Stacy.
You haven't
In
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
We gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about West?
If you didn't have
You
our...
They all need to just sit in a corner and come out and they can act like adults and compromise. But see, that's what this was supposed to be about in the first place. This was supposed to be about the compromising between two nations, Russia, Ukraine. And the problem is you've got Zelensky stating right here is you will pay or you're going to see this brought to your shores. Is you're going to end this war, but only on our terms. And that is not how you get a deal done. Yeah. I couldn't believe he had the nerve to say they were alone. Yeah, repay the United States. Did Z set both of them off? Yeah. Yeah, he did. Yeah. He said both Vance and Trump off on this.
Military equipment.
You invited
If
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days.
Oh, yeah. So now he's doubling down on it. I do believe Americans care about the deaths due to this war. Yes, but we cannot continue to pay money to promote these deaths. Exactly. EU and NATO want to pay, let them. Let them send weapons, money, people, troops, whatever the hell they want to send over there. America does not want to be involved in this war except for ending it. I'm with you on Cynthia.
This is something
Maybe
new
less.
in 2 weeks. Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
Yeah, Trump isn't right there. I mean, he is right there. It's good that the American people are seeing exactly the way that these negotiations are happening and the points that Zelensky's trying to make. At one point, Zelensky called him a bitch in Ukrainian. Yeah, I believe he would do that. He seems like that kind of person. Yeah. Putin has made us a better deal, much more rare earth. That is true. West Obama said, I heard that also. Yeah.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want.
Yeah, Trump. This is where Trump's going off on him because he has said he doesn't want a ceasefire. He wants to hurt Russia. That's very true. And that's why they want the United States to end the war and put our troops in there where it's Russia versus the United States again. And America's like, we shouldn't be doing that. It's coming up when Trump touches him. I was laughing so hard.
A ceasefire,
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me. That wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make. because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
Oh.
Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff.
And
all I can say is this.
Job.
He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right. We'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was absolutely insane. Whenever I saw that, I was like, ooh. But he did run off and decided he was going to go sort of, you're not a nice person. Loved it. Yeah, Trump wasn't going to put up with any of that. Trump wasn't going to put up with any of that. You know what I'm not going to put up with is the lack of coffee this morning. I'm going to go grab a cup of Java. I want everybody else, if you think about it, go run and grab one for yourself also. But we need a little peaceful happiness. So let's bring in the otters today.
Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive. Where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dawn night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true. With crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream. A digital dream. A shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. We talk and Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive. Where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dawn night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true. With crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream. A digital dream. Daydream. From shoutouts to those random screens, and inside jokes and endless memes. In Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive. Where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dawn night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true. With crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream. A digital dream. A shared daydream. From shoutouts to those up club. Oh, shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. Ooh, yeah, we come together night and day. We laugh, we play in our way. A family in a cyberspace, loving hearts in this virtual place. Oh, shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream.
Now I also have this one. I don't think I played this one for you yet, but check this out. Oh, this is the second one I did for this. Oh, yeah.
Baby, ooh, baby, morning's here again. So let's do this, sugar, no cream. Wake up slow, take a sip. Shizzy's got 'em losing their grip. News so dumb, what can you do? Laugh it off, let daddy guide you. You know Papa don't flinch, don't blink. Ooh baby, he's sharper than you think. Morning whiz, take it in. Shizzy's got the world on spin. Fools keep falling, truth's on fire. Papa Nut just raised the choir. Oh no, they tried to fight. Now they're howling through the night. They poke, they scratch, they beg, they plead. But Shizzy's dancing while they bleed. Pour it black, keep it light. Shizzy's teasing you right. Morning whiz, taste the show. Sip it slow, let it glow. Trolls are crying, the game is set. Ooh, baby, they ain't seen nothing yet. Now that's a morning sugar. The coffee's hot, the takes are hotter. And Shizzy Daddy, oh, he's just getting started.
Yeah, you like? Yeah, great bass line. Thank you. And I do want to say thank you also to Jay Hip. Thank you for the $10 super chat. And I'll get you the helmet of shame. No, I'm just kidding. That's for you, brother. I appreciate it. Yes, welcome. And he says, yeah, but the last time we saw the U.S. in a war against Russia, it didn't go well. I saw this documentary called Red Dawn. Thank goodness for the Wolverines. Thank you so much. Speakeasy. Yeah, exactly. Yes, that meeting was very disturbing and painful to watch. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that because, well, that's what we do here. We talk about things we don't like to. The Ukrainians are the new Kurds. I never cared for the expression luck of the Irish. No offense to anyone from the Emerald Isle, but what luck? Between the Anglo-Norman invasions, the Tudor conquest, British subjugation, potato famines, religious wars, poverty, and having way too many freckles, the Irish never struck me as particularly lucky people. Luck of the Irish. Yeah, right. How about the luck of the Jews or the luck of the Native Americans while we're at it? Because the undeniable truth, some cultures and ethnicities have been way luckier than others, just the way of the world, I'm afraid. Some regions of the earth have witnessed generational strife, hatred, bloodshed for thousands of years. Others are pure and untouched, a planetary paradise of peace, tranquility, and boundless beauty. It's kind of weird when you think about it that way. Millions of folks slaughtering each other over small slivers of lands in muddy Ukraine, the deserts of Yemen, North Africa, the wastelands of the Middle East, but nobody's fighting over beachfront property in Tahiti or Hawaii. Some people are simply luckier than others. Luck of the wasp? You betcha. No argument about that one. Luck of the fill in the blank? Yeah, not as much. Unlucky people learn different history lessons than lucky people. If you're fortunate enough to be a citizen of the United States of America, then congratulations, you're starting life with a pocket of aces and a bankroll of chips. If you're an American, history is a tale of triumph. How the backwoods hicks, losers, risk takers, cast off, and hillbillies built a new country in a new world that became the world's preeminent superpower. It instills with you a sense of inevitability, that all things are possible. If you work hard enough, pray long enough, and dream big enough, well, of course, Americans are optimistic people. We beat the Brits, invented a new government, built the #1 economy, have the best technology and entertainment, won a pair of world wars, and left our flag on the freaking moon. If this was your history, you'd be cocky, you know what, too. European history, and thus European culture, is a little different. A total of 61% of the French people express pessimistic outlook about their personal lives and 69% about the future of their country. Similarly, 56% of Italians evince pessimism about their personal lives, while 72% do so with respect to their country's future. Italian, French, and German respondents show the most pessimism regarding their country's futures. Israel, like Europe, doesn't share America's optimism. Jewish history is many things, but lucky doesn't come anywhere close to describing it. Instead, Jewish history is a tragic tale of what happens when a smaller country gets overrun and manhandled by the regional superpower du jour. In the case of the Romans, the Jews lost their country for 2,000 years. Spoiler alert, it didn't work out so well for them. It's a big reason why Israel has been so hesitant to ruffle Putin's feathers or side more strongly with Ukraine. Historically, pissing off nearby superpower is tantamount to playing with fire. It can cost you your country for many millennia. Right now, the Ukrainian people are in danger of becoming the new Kurds. The history of the Kurds, all broken promises and shattered dreams, is absolutely heartbreaking. They've been screwed over repeatedly. Their culture, language, traditions are being exterminated. In 1988, Saddam Hussein used chemical weapons against them. Then, when George W. Bush urged the Kurds to take matter into their own hands to force Saddam Hussein, the dictator, to step aside, they tried their best. They took up arms and led the charge bravely and courageously, and America abandoned them. We did nothing to Saddam's forces, destroyed so many. And now the Kurdish people, a vast sprawling ethnicity of 30 to 45 million men, women, and children, are stateless. The regional superpowers, we were very happy to use the Kurds as pawns, and at various times they were very useful chess pieces. Alas, their primary purpose was being expendable, and when the chess game ended, nobody cared about them anymore. When the Russia war machine rolled into Ukraine, the bravery and tenacity of the Ukrainian soldiers impressed the whole world. Clearly, Putin underestimated the extent and the ferocity of the Ukrainian fighting spirit. What many experts predicted would be one week war is now in its third year. But those experts forgot their Russian history. The first year of every Russian war is always a complete and utter shit show. It was true in both world wars. It was true during the Napoleonic invasion. It was also true in Ukraine. Competent Russian generals tend to fall out of windows and or suffer untimely deaths. Cronyism is rewarded, so the first year of a war is almost always a horrible Russian bloodbath and a crude and embarrassing display of incompetence and ineptitude. Then after a year or so, Russia figures it out. They keep throwing bodies at the problem until the problem is solved or the Russian regime collapses most of the time. And it works out okay. And that takes us today. European nations, along with the Biden administration, were delighted to dull Russian blades over the bodies of dead Ukrainians. It was a Machiavellian decision. Let's use the Ukrainians to drain the Russian war machine. The longer the war, the greater the damage to Putin's military. That's splendid news for England, France, Germany, and the rest of NATO. Before, European nations paid their NATO dues so Americans would fight for them. Now, Ukraine is eating artillery on their behalf, no matter how the Russian-Ukraine conflict ultimately turns out. The Russian bear has already been weakened, and that's what you're wanted most of all. If it comes to the cost of completely destruction of Ukraine. Curiously, the population of Ukraine is now less than 38 million, making it roughly the same size as the Kurds. But unlike the Kurds, the Ukrainians still have their own country for now. And I hope that they're wise enough to keep it. Good morning, T-Rex. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And here's where it gets a little interesting. Somebody has a take on this. This is Kevin Downey Jr.'s next. It says, tinfoil hatter day. Did Zelensky sabotage the meeting to appease the globalists? Well, roll the tape. One hopes that by now you've had the chance to watch the first 40 minutes or so of the Oval Office meeting that ended with a 1-2 clown slap being beat down that Vice President Vance and President Trump gave to former golden boy Vlad Zelensky. The Operation Mockingbird media mud puppies did everything possible to portray Zelensky as the underdog warrior who defiantly stood up to Russia's Vlad Putin, including pushing videos of Hollywood elites who traveled to Ukraine to meet with Zelensky, allegedly being paid to do so by USAID through Ben Stiller, and many left-wing news outlets suggest this is a lie made up by Russian media. The meeting appears to be going along swimmingly until Zelensky appallingly seems to sabotage the whole thing as he goes after Vance for suggesting diplomacy is the answer to the Ukraine-Russian war. Vance lays down the first verbal wallop with a fistful of common sense, which follows up by accusing Zelensky of being ungrateful for the massive financial support sent to Ukraine by the U.S. Trump works as the closer and loudly reminds Zelensky that he doesn't have the cards to finish the war and that he better take the deal Trump can negotiate for him. Now, many of the left-wing bad news outlets reporting that the story about USAID paying Ben Stiller and various other actors to visit Zelensky as Russian propaganda also assured us that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. Okay. It looked to me as if Zelensky purposely threw a monkey wrench into the meeting meant to bring peace to Ukraine. But why? Zelensky, it's time for Ukrainians to stop sighing. No, not yet. For starters, peace isn't prosperous, and those military industrial complex ghouls want the cheddar. So do a lot of Washington, D.C. Swamp wigglers who were expecting some of that cash to find its way back to mostly the Democrat Party, who are getting shady donations through Act Blue. It occurred to me that perhaps Zelensky is standing firm with the globalists who helped initiate the war between Russia and Ukraine. In fact, Raman, in his book Follow the Money, Dan Bongino wrote about Ukraine being a corrupt money laundering swamp nation. When the lizard people come to your defense, including jingomatic Liz Cheney, it becomes apparent that Zelensky would prefer to receive billions of dollars instead of stopping the Ukraine men from dying. Generations of American patriots from a revolution onward have fought for the principles Zelensky has risked his life to defend, but today Donald Trump and J.D. Vance attacked Zelensky and pressured him to surrender the freedom to his people to the KGB war criminal. That's not true. That's not what I saw. Nancy Pelosi put down the gray goose long enough to back up Zelensky's attempt to keep the war going. It would have been a show of strength for the president of the United States to bring the elected leader of Ukraine to the Oval Office and engage him in a dignified way. Well, you have to act dignified if you want to be treated dignified. But you should never know that after President Trump's shameful display, Putin must be overjoyed with or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, speaking of the globalist replies, Zelensky never stopped after being booted from the White House, was with the man currently allowing Muslims to destroy the nation, Ukraine Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who was happy to promise full backing to Zelensky so that Ukraine can continue to fight and lose its war to Russia. Keir Starmer giving away billions of UK taxpayer money to Zelensky after he run to Starmer after the Americans kicked him out. This is your taxpayer money given to another country to keep the war going. We want peace. Trump is talking about ending the war that is grinding Ukraine's male population into hamburger, but Zelensky has rich friends who want to keep their money laundering operations intact. If you watch the whole tape, it seems pretty obvious Zelensky chose to sabotage the Oval Office meeting to stand with the animals funding the profitable war that Zelensky obviously can't win. How much money is each country that's part from NATO supposed to pay? Have they all met that percentage every year? Well, that's for self-defense. That's not for promoting a war. That's for self-defense. But then the question becomes, what should Zelensky do now? You can't put the shit back in the donkey. Here's the good news. Apologies are opportunities to reset that narrative, and here's the bad news. Gestures wildly at everything else. On the heels of the horrendous, awful, so bad, practically melted your face, like that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark White House meeting between Zelensky and Trump, the Ukrainians are in crisis communication mode. The future of their country was needlessly, foolishly endangered. How bad a screw up was it? Well, about 800 years ago, the city of Otor, located in the modern country of Kazakhstan, I'm not going to be able to say it, thought it would be a swell idea to disrespect Genghis Khan. Inagulk, I'm not going to get that right, the governor of Otar spurned the Khan's request for assistance on a legal inquiry, killed his chief envoy, and just out of spite, Inagulk shipped the envoy's decapitated head back to the Mongols. Genghis Khan responded exactly like Genghis Khan. He wiped out the city. 1.2 million people were brutally killed. Inagulk was executed by having molten silver poured in his mouth, eyes, and ears. Why do I bring this up? You got to go back 800 years back in time to find a diplomatic snafu on the level of what Zelensky just did at the White House. Even by historic standards, Zelensky's behavior was exceptional. Nations in Ukraine's position don't usually stroll into a superpower's home wearing a sweatsuit, no less, demand more money and limitless security guarantees, call the vice president by his first name, and then annoy the president so much that he throws you out on your butt. Instead, leaders in Zelensky's position typically care more about their country than their own ego and act accordingly. So what should Zelensky do now? First of all, he should see that he can shake what he can shake out of Europe. They were all saying all kinds of negative things about Trump in America. Maybe Zelensky could ride the latest wave of anti-Trump sentiment and extract more concessions. Cha-ching, it's worth a shot, because this is what Zelensky really wants: more money, more weapons, more war. He doesn't want the fighting to stop until the country is whole, Russia is vanquished, and Putin is punished. He can't blame him for feeling that way, but that doesn't mean we're obligated to bankroll his war goals. Presumably, Trump wants to cut a deal where Russia keeps portions of Ukraine, including Crimea. If that's not acceptable to Zelensky, that's fine. If he'd rather continue to fight, that's his God-given right. And if Europe wants to go to war with Russia and risk nuclear Armageddon and regain small slivers of Ukrainian land, so be it. But leave us out of it. Secondly, the likely event that Europe is 100% talk and zero action. Zelensky better start groveling as soon as possible. He should schedule a return meeting at the White House at Trump's earliest convenience. Then Zelensky should show up on time with a clean shave, wearing a tuxedo. Hell, he should bring a bouquet of flowers for the First Lady while he's at it, and he should apologize. There's nothing shameful about saying you're sorry. All Zelensky has to say is something like, I'm so passionate about my country, sometimes my emotions get the better of me. Over the last 3 years, I've consoled so many mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters, and some of their stories are so tragic and haunting, it's heartbreaking. But I know I must keep my emotions in check, not just for the good of my people, but for the good of all people. Mr. President, I apologize for my behavior at the White House. Ukraine is grateful, thankful, and appreciative of America's generosity. War is hell, and if there's a chance of stopping the killing, it's absolutely worth pursuing. There's a liberal theory that Trump and Vance planned this ambush of Zelensky, hoping to embarrass the Ukrainian leader on national TV, and this is complete and utter nonsense. Trump wants to be known as a great deal maker. He didn't want to embarrass Zelensky. He wanted him to sign a deal, and Trump still does. In a weird way, if he could get Zelensky to sign a deal after this high-octane kerfuffle, it would be an even greater accomplishment, which means that Zelensky will probably get another bite at the apple. He better not blow it, because I don't think that he will get a third. Trump would be nice too. Absolutely. Well, that would work for me too. Don't you worry, Cynthia. Little chocolate fluid bean. Nice. Hold on just a second. I've got to change my thermostat. Sorry about that. I had to change my thermostat. I was starting to get really hot in this room. Like roasty hot. I was going to have to start taking off clothes. We don't want to see that. Now, the big topic today seems to be the blow between Trump and Vance on one hand and Zelensky on the other. On the other hand, the reactions, it all seems to fall into two categories. Trump is an idiot who got his clock cleaned by Zelensky, and Zelensky is a comedian who has no understanding of diplomacy. One that no one seems to grasp is that it's a negotiation that didn't end when Zelensky left the White House yesterday, but people are pretty uniformly convinced that it reinforces their existent notions about Trump and Zelensky. The most amusing one, at least to me, was someone who said, "That's it, it's over," when I suggested that was premature. Came back, but of course it can't always be restarted. So I have some thoughts. One, nobody knows nothing. We don't know what was in Zelensky's mind. We don't know what was in Trump's mind. People have been dismissing Trump as an idiot for, at this point, decades. The model of Trump has not turned out to be very predictive. 3, there are two keys to any negotiation. Both sides have something they want. Both sides have limits to deal they'll accept. Ukraine has something they definitely want, for Russians to stop blowing up their cities. Trump has something he wants, to stop a war that's an effective stalemate on terms that are advantageous to the United States. In yesterday's conversations, Trump and Vance went into it knowing that Zelensky wants further U.S. support. And Zelensky apparently went into it under the impression the best way to get further support was to bluster about the U.S. not being nice enough. Here's the problem. Trump is a master negotiator who knows that you have to be willing to walk away from a deal. Now, ignore everyone who says they know everything about the events of yesterday and look at what happened. Zelensky has now posted 2 tweets expressing his gratitude for everything the U.S. has done, which is pretty much exactly what Vance excoriated him for failing to do in the Oval Office. We at the same time see some suggestion that Zelensky was being advised by people from the previous administration, such as Susan Rice, that he could get a better deal. So what seems like we ought to infer is that Zelensky thought he could extract concessions from Trump by embarrassing him in public. Trump, on the other hand, clearly has his own goals for the deal, and they're actually largely economic. He wants to end a perpetual war that's absorbing hundreds of billions of dollars and lives, and establish a relationship that will reverse the extended economic drain. Additionally, I think secondarily, he wants to see the EU step up to their own defense. I don't think there has been a lot of appetite in the EU's member states to actually do that, but they have started to at least make noises about the need to really increase their defense spending. Underlying the whole recent discussion is the assumption that all negotiations have ended, because if it doesn't happen today, there's nothing that can ever possibly change. And that brings us to 4. Ukraine still needs U.S. support. Trump still needs a deal that he can accept, and nothing is over. Yes, Elena, Trump slapped him with a reality check that he needed. He should have walked into the White House with all the humility and very thankful, but nope, it turned into a pissing contest because he wanted to broker a better deal. Very much so. He might have been getting advised by former people. But the EU had something different to say. And that's what it was right here. 4 boxes of cookies. Oh, geez, that's insane. Yes, the virtue signaling has gone to 11, but their support went from 1 to 1.125. The EU tells America, you're fired. The free world needs a new leader. The political fallout of the remarkable Trump-Zelensky White House fiasco is still accumulating, to paraphrase Winston Churchill, whose bust ominously glowered at both presidents in the Oval Office via his patented Churchillian disapproval. This is not the end. This is the beginning of the end. And good old Winston hangs back here on my wall. Not yet. We're still in rapid inflation period of this story. This will be the gift that keeps on giving for some. There's a delayed reaction between people, events, and political calculation. The internet is instantaneous, but our brains take time to process new information. Right now, we're still in the what the F did I just see? The Ukraine war is now a partisan issue, and that's a shame. No, it's always been a partisan issue. And America's national security ought to be a bipartisan concern. The Democrats were already predisposed to favor Ukraine. According to the Gallup, 84 have a favorable opinion of the country compared to a 4% approval for their own president. Over the next few weeks, can expect the Democrats to try to score political points by strengthening their support for Ukraine, at least rhetorically, and Republicans doing the opposite. Zelensky was discredited on a world stage. It was humiliating, demeaning moment that for the Ukrainian president, by extension for the Ukrainian people. He came across as petty, stubborn, and small, and probably worth noting that Donald Trump wasn't the first U.S. president to lose his temper with Zelensky. As Biden had barely finished telling Zelensky he green-lighted another $1 billion in U.S. military assistance for Ukraine when Zelensky started listing all the additional help he needed and wasn't getting, and Biden lost his temper. The people familiar with the call said the American people were being quite generous, and his administration, the U.S. military, were working hard to help Ukraine, he said, raising his voice in Zelensky and show a little more gratitude. Yes. Trump was diminished as well for all the attaboys, and it's about time by the MAGA boosters. This played poorly internationally seems less like an art of the deal negotiating tactic and more like a chaotic, disjointed temper tantrum. Europe in particular is being pushed into a corner, and this is where the story really gets interesting. Trump basically threw a line in the sand and told the EU, we're no longer your partners in war, we want to be partners in peace. So if Europe wants to continue to fight, they can certainly do so. And that's the case. And if that's the case, then American position is, to quote Eric Cartman, screw you guys, I'm going home. Which means there will likely be a renewed push for the formation of a new European military alliance, one that's of Europe, for Europe, and specifically excludes the United States. And that's both good and bad. A strong, stable Western European military would deter Russian aggression. It would mean American men and women wouldn't have to die in another stupid, pointless European war. On the other hand, the consequences of a militarized Europe wouldn't be limited to Ukraine and Russia. Instead, as America pulls back, Europe would fill the void in pursuit of its own agenda. Historically, when Europe does that, it doesn't always work out so well for everyone else. Kaja Kallas was Estonia's prime minister. She's currently the EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, which is a hell of a title. And yesterday she posted on X, Ukraine is Europe. We stand by Ukraine. We will step up our support to Ukraine so that they can continue to fight back the aggressor. Today, it became clear that the free world needs a new leader. It's up to us Europeans to take this challenge. Kallas is an anti-Russian hawk who supports Ukraine, de-Russified Estonia, and became her leadership, her GDP. Estonia has donated far more to Ukraine than any other nation, albeit her husband's ties to Russia have drawn criticism. If I were Estonian, I'd want the United States to fight for me too. And if that didn't work, I'd want Europe to fight for me. The total population of Estonia is less than 1.4 million people. Can't fault Kallas for trying. But I'm not an Estonian, nor am I a European. I'm an American. It's absolutely moral and legitimate for an American president to do what's in the best interests of the American people. Besides, Kallas pleas for a new leader of the free world. That job isn't available. It's not subject to democratic roll calls. Instead, it's an inevitable byproduct of America's might, our military, culture, economy, and history. You want to replace America? Fine, go to the moon and bring back our flag. If you can do that, I'd be delighted to hear your ideas. But if not, then maybe it's wiser to avoid biting the hand that feeds and protects you. And one last thought. We begin this essay with an allusion to Winston Churchill's bust, which Trump returned to the Oval Office. But forget about his bust. Churchill himself spent over 100 days in the White House as a presidential guest. He was unfailingly polite, appreciative, respectful, and deferential. Famously, when President Roosevelt entered Churchill's guest room and caught a glimpse of Winston's naked pink body, the American president apologized and quickly turned to leave, but Churchill beckoned him to stay. The Prime Minister of Great Britain has nothing to conceal from the President of the United States. And Liberals like comparing Zelensky to Churchill, but diplomatically, sadly, Zelensky is no Churchill. Oh, but for how long? Z wanted security guarantees, but for how long? Trump kept saying after the deal signed, we will talk more about security. We're going to keep the route we are going. The security as long as it was needed. He already said that. Kroger's CEO just stepped down. Wow. Lord almighty. Wonder what happened there. But you also, I mean, speaking of those kind of things, hey, MG. Yes. How you doing, brother? Good. Let Europeans take care of themselves. It won't work. They don't share language or culture. That is true. Well, not all true. I mean, that's not entirely all true. But it is worth noting. It's worth noting. Oh boy. Here we go. And that's it. There we go. All right. So it looks like the DEI Death Watch Volume 7, Apple gets weak knees. Chronicling the creeping demise of diversity, equity, and inclusion, otherwise known as institutionalized racism. Bank of America abandons DEI initiatives, cites new business climate. Bank of America has scrapped some of its diversity initiatives as it navigates a new business climate under Donald Trump. Second largest lender dropped references to its diversity hiring goals and rule requiring hiring managers to consider a diverse group of candidates, according to an annual filing on Tuesday. The changes depart from the policies laid out in the bank's proxy statement last year. We evaluate and adjust our programs in light of new laws, court decisions, and more recently, executive orders from the new administration, a bank spokesperson said. It's unclear whether DEI applies to Banks of America's sponsorship of sodomy festivals nationwide or just to its hiring practices concerning marginalized communities. After the initial defiance, Apple signals willingness to cave to Trump DEI rollback demands, and for whatever reason, Apple shareholders are among the staunchest bitter clingers to DEI in the golden age. Even so, the legal realities on the ground may force their hand anyway. Apple boss Tim Cook has said the company may have to change its diversity practices as the U.S. legal landscape shifts. His comments came just minutes after a majority of shareholders rejected a proposal calling on the tech giant to consider ending its diversity policies, such as the use of race and sex in hiring decisions. Apple had urged shareholders to vote against the measure, which the company had argued was inappropriately trying to micromanage its business. Scrutiny of the firm comes as U.S. President Donald Trump has called for an end to diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the government and private sectors, and that includes Apple. Fired USAID workers get emotional outside of the office after ushering out, which was quite humorous to watch. Given that the USAID was caught funneling billions in cash to fund transgender grooming operations worldwide in the name of gender equity or whatever, I'll still post it that this is a DEI story. At any rate, let's never pass up a good opportunity for calling this out. We earned it over the past few years. Former United States Agency for USAID employees were seen collecting their belongings and exiting the federal building the final time. Following a slew of layoffs, the video obtained by Fox News Digital showed dozens of individuals gathered outside USAID building in Washington, D.C. on Thursday to support the ex-USAID employees who were recently placed on leave, holding signs that read, "You're not a federal worker that should be fired," and "Make America compassionate again." The ex-USAID employees were met by supporters outside protesting the layoffs, carrying their belongings and flowers as they left the building together in a line. Oh, woe is us. Woe is us. Oh my. Imagine being a private citizen so outraged by having your tax money previously used for grooming children of color worldwide saved that you decide to take time out of your own day to go down to a federal building and protest the firing of government bureaucrats doing weird social engineering schemes for the CIA. Happy Melody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Oh boy. And this is for you Canadians out there. Just for you Canadians. a proposal for the 51st state. President Trump's threat to annex Canada as America's 51st state has provoked a sudden and unprecedented upsurge in patriotic fervor among Canadian politicians, media, hoplites, and public figures from sea to shining sea. Yet, as the Epic Times reminds us, the backlash against the idea of becoming the 51st U.S. state exposes a contradiction in a country where in recent years there's been a systematic effort to erase the Canadian identity and founding history. The issue is, of course, exasperated by the blanket tariff that Trump is planning to impose on Canadian exports to the U.S. Groan. Officially, it's like, oh. This newfound sentiment of love of country doesn't pass the smell test, although it's being interestedly ginned up by a floundering Liberal Party despite having to stave off a crushing defeat at the approaching polls by playing the anti-American card. Appears the strategy may be working as the last 10 years under Justin Trudeau's disastrous regime seems to have been wiped clean from Canada's collective memory. What we're observing is not an access of genuine pride, but an embellic revival of chest-thumping, self-regarding, giving the Liberals a route to a potential win. A friend writes about all the silly old ladies with whom his wife goes for walks sometimes, the Faculty Women's Club, who urged each other to buy Canadian and blah, 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 Trump bad, blah, 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 climate change, blah, blah, blah. This truly is Canada with the emphasis on the not a part. What is the good old people of this country have forgotten regarding the Liberal government they elected on 3 consecutive occasions? For starters, the devastating consequences of a rising unnecessary carbon tax, virtually unrestricted mass immigration, sabotage of the Canadian energy sector, the housing crisis, the healthcare crisis, the inflation crisis, the drug and crime crisis, the alarming spike in anti-Semitism and pro-Islamic fervor, stratospheric taxation, insurmountable debt and deficit, capital flight, dwindling foreign investment, a defunct military, fantasy world stupidity, for example, former Deputy Prime Minister and leadership hopeful Chrystia Freeland and her fight against Trump proposing to recruit her nuclear allies, betrayal by our leaders, witness Chinese interference in the electoral process on Trudeau's watcher, popular Liberal leadership candidate, Special Advisor Trudeau, former bank manager Mark Carney moving his investments to the U.S. despite his express commitment to growing the Canadian economy. Interesting. Nor are many citizens aware that Trump's punitive campaign to absorb Canada as the 51st state may be a little more than a negotiating strategy or typical Trumpian barb to troll his target audience. And as I've argued before, the idea of annexing a state consisting of 10 provinces and 3 territories larger than the country that's doing the annexing is utterly preposterous. There is also the fact that Canada is a socialist nation whose electorate votes approximately 65% leftist, in other words, equivalent to California plus New York. That would give the U.S. another dozen or 2 Democrat-like congressmen, the last thing Trump would want. The only feasible provinces that would benefit in the U.S. are staunchly conservative jurisdictions like Alberta, possibly Saskatchewan, which are rich in energy and agriculture. The problem is that the winds of succession are not strong enough to sweep those provinces from the orbit of the Canadian Confederation. What then is to be done? In a blockbuster essay, Trump's global world and socialism, Julius Ruschel asserts that life inside Fortress America looks pretty good considering what Canada has become, and doubly in light of the more protectionist nationalist nation that America is becoming under Trump to shield itself economically and militarily from a hostile globalist world. In line with Ruschel's eminently sane reading of the political context, I propose the United States under the administration of Donald Trump consider me and my wife as the 51st state by awarding us honorary citizenships. We are, after all, productive individuals. Virulent critics of the Canadian train wreck and have written copiously and favorably about the U.S. and its stellar representatives such as Trump and Ron DeSantis are financially solvent and lectured American universities, have posted and published in the U.S. and have been interviewed by American radio, print, and internet sources. Our track record, unlike Canada's, is pretty respectable. We are more ready than to succeed. And that comes from David Soloway, a Canadian poet, songwriter, and essayist. Oh, absolutely. Russia will never leave the Crimea. It is only warm water port. Now, I did not see this on Friday, but we do have something really fun to share with you here. The weekend parting shot, celebs in Space. Happy Friday, gentle readers. This was written on Friday, so pray that you forgive me. I pray this missive finds you well. Normally, this feature is a lighthearted attempt to wind up the week, but this morning I was feeling more disgruntled than usual with the State of the Union. See, years ago, I had a good friend in the FBI who was genuinely a nice guy, one of those guys you could get around with. He was active in the community, not just someone who was transferred to a duty station and only came out to do a little shopping now and then. He actually involved himself in activities, local charities. He was the kind of guy you would want as a friend and neighbor. I hope he retired a while ago. If he hasn't, I hope he is still standing tall. Frankly, he was too decent a guy to be part of what the FBI became. I know that yesterday Americans reacted to the release of the Epstein binder, much like a kid who opened his first present Christmas morning and found socks and pajamas. Only everyone was waiting to learn who would be awarded the dishonor of America's biggest pervert, and rightly so. People were gripping at the air they had seen let out their collective balloon, but A.G. Pam Bondi claimed that the FBI field office in New York was hiding serious documents and refusing to hand them over to the Trump administration. This may be nothing after all. The news cycle is measurable in nanoseconds, and at times it becomes difficult to separate fact from fiction and wheat from the chaff. But what Bondi and others are alleging is fact, not fiction. Then why would this office hide the files? Is it a power play? Are there too many big names at stake? Or are they sitting on a document dump of epic proportions simply because they can? If the office is hiding truly damning information, then it wasn't enough to kick down the doors of pro-lifers. It wasn't enough to snoop on school board parents. It wasn't enough to show up at people's doors to intimidate them. If what is being alleged is true, then we are dealing with people who are so compromised and corrupt that new adjectives will have to be created to describe them. They haven't just sold out their nation or justice. They may have even sold out the victims. They may claim that there's a greater good at stake, and they may say we can't see the bigger picture. They may even go with that oldie but a goodie. Trump is a dictator. They can say whatever they want to salve their consciences, but it won't work. And hopefully my friend found more respectable work in multi-level marketing or something. There are some things that require even the most hardened of progressives and deep staters to go beyond. But Trump, if it is all true, then Bondi is going to do about it. And after Thursday's much ballyhooed release that turned out to be nothing, was exactly what we were supposed to believe at this point. And if you want to read more of that, you can find all of that over there on PJ Media. But I do have this one here, and then I'll probably be firing this thing down. And KDG's Clown of the Week Award goes to. There has been a change at KDG's Clown of the Week Award, KCWA, with unrepining I'm not even going to try. Jasmine Crockett has once again dared to dazzle the KCWA Academy, me, in a way that cannot be ignored. Crockett has been running every week thus far. She could win every week, but what fun would that be? Instead, the Academy, I have decided to include a special segment every week called Crockett's Weekly Codswallop, where we will showcase Crockett's hilarious yet tragic need for attention and burning desire to convince everyone interested that a silicone chip inside her head is indeed switched to overload. Here goes the first one. Crockett's Weekly Codswallop. Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett has been working overtime to replace AOC as the Democrats' favorite hottish psycho chick. Crockett spent the week obstinately regurgitating talking points sent to her by the CIA. She goes off on Doge, then whines about Musk's contract with the FAA to upgrade our aging air traffic controlling systems, and isn't a good week for Crockett unless she gets to screech about white privilege before once again crying about President Musk as her Operation Mockingbird masters commanded. And who can resist calling Trump Orange Jesus? I wish Crockett would just challenge AOC to a couple of rounds of foxy boxing to see who is the most annoying Democratic congressional coquet. So let's get this award program portion of the program. Clown 1, Joy Reid. After years of profitably fire-hosing racism to a dwindling off audience, Joy Reid is finally unemployed. If you haven't seen Joy Reid's cries, because she will no longer be paid millions of dollars to spew hatred at Peckerwoods and the MAGA caps, take a minute, pour a bourbon, and treat yourself.
I'm sorry. That what I was doing had value.
My favorite part is where she states that her racial jingoist program had value. Au revoir, Joy. You won't be missed. Rachel Maddow. I never thought pouring a bourbon and watching Joy Reid getting fired could be any better. But then I saw Rachel Maddow call her employer, MSNBC, a racist on air for firing racist Reid. Pour another whiskey and watch Rachel Maddow call MSNBC racist for firing Reid and another minority anchor. Publicly calling your employee racist is never a good career. In Maddow's desperate attempt to humiliate her boss, she got most of her crew fired. Less than 24 hours later, MSNBC fired all but 3 of the people, even the white devils who worked on Maddow's fledgling show. Megyn Kelly had the best take on Maddow's madness.
The fallout from Joy Reid's firing at MSNBC continues. She signed off from the show for the last time last night. I mean, you know, we are going to miss her in our own special way. And her now former colleague, Rachel Maddow, never one to not be the center of attention if she can find a way of injecting herself into a story, decided to deliver a monologue aimed directly at her bosses. And this is the theme of what we saw.
And I'm not going to watch the whole 22 minutes of that, but it is quite hilarious. If you get a chance, go check it out. Perennial Punchinello Tapper makes his first appearance on this stage after years of successfully helping to hide Joe Biden's mental incapacity and failing bowels. Tapper had the audacity to write a book about how the media hid Biden's mental incompetency and failing bowels, displaying a complete lack of self-awareness, perhaps reading the writing on the wall and waiting for his own pink slip. Tapper penned a book about Biden's flailing health after stating for years that Biden wasn't a breathing turnip. Yeah. That was hilarious. Quite hilarious. Clown 4, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, last-minute candidate. After years of hoovering billions of American dollars obstinately to fight Russia, Zelensky showed up to the White House today and behaved like Veruca Salt. Yeah, I'm not going to play that because that will get me removed. Apparently, Zelensky, who was a darling to the Biden administration, thought he'd tug on Superman's cape, and wow, that didn't go well. J.D. Vance opened up, and we went over that today. Pour bourbon number 3 and enjoy. And thank you very much, Kevin Downey Jr. He's a comedian, columnist, radio talk show host, and when he isn't writing or performing, he's collecting surf records and practicing his mixologist skills at his tiki bar, his apartment, the Atomic Bunker. Looks like it was furnished from George Jetson's garage sale. You can hear him crush the commies and punish the pedos on Kevin Downey Jr. every Monday through Friday at 10 to 11 p.m. a.m. You're a proud Indigenous Canadian. Nothing wrong with that. You should be proud of your country. Everyone should be very proud of their own country. If not, then you're losing the war, like the PR war over Doge. But we'll get to that at another day. Everyone, I want you to have a good day. Hopefully I'm able to get together with you guys tonight. We will see, because I am possibly not going to be able to tonight. There's like 3D World is taking hold, and today is going to be a very nice day in the Shizzy household. It's going to be a happy day. I just want you all to know that today is the lovely wife's birthday. So I don't think I'll be on tonight because I'll be spending it with my lovely wife. Unless she says, no, leave me alone and I don't want you near me for the umpteenth time. No, she doesn't say that. But it is a possibility that she will end up like going to sleep early because she's had a long weekend of birthday celebration. But don't you worry. I will follow back up very soon. Yeah, exactly. You got that right, Lilu. That is absolutely right. It is family first, unless she states otherwise. Tell her we all wish her a happy birthday. I will. And I do plan on having a wonderful, wonderful day with my wife this evening. I've got things planned. Everybody, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day. And I will see you definitely tomorrow morning if I don't see you tonight. If I see you tonight, I don't know what it'll be about, but we shall see. Everyone, peace and say hi to Mo.
Bless your heart. I thought I was the only mentally challenged one here.
Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Early morning, rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy Whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning Whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.